Okay, hi everybody. I'm Jana Ong. I'm the founder of TheJiveAcademy. So what we did is we've organized this 12-day mindful living project, and we've invited different consultants in the field of metaphysics to share with us their experience. And today we're very excited because we have Esther with us on the day 4 of the mindful living project. Esther is very experienced because she knows Western astrology, she knows Chinese astrology. So basically, her reading would be very comprehensive, or if you're seeking her consultation usually, whereby she'll share with you from the Western astrology perspective as well as the Chinese astrology perspective. So that is very rare. But today, our topic would be Western astrology. And yeah, so would not like to delay any further. I'll pass the mic to Esther. Esther, over to you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Jana. Okay, so welcome everyone. I assume I have control of the screen now, right?
Yes,
So,
you do.
Great. Let me start with a whiteboard. I feel so accomplished because I only learned how to use this like 2 days ago. Okay, so if you have already erected your chart, then I will say that it looks something like this. Let me just share with you the actual chart first, so you have an idea of what it looks like. Oh, I have to open the file first, right? Hold on, huh?
Yes.
I spoke too soon when I said that I know how to use this.
No worries, Esther. You just need to open the file and then you share your screen, then we can see already.
Yes, just give me a minute. Okay, and here you go. Do you guys see this? This is a sample of the chart that you will be looking at if you have opened it at the website that was given to you earlier. Okay, now you will understand that this chart is very individual. So I'll just briefly introduce what this is to you. You see this line here? Oops. Go to draw. See this line here? Then you see this line here? You see this line here? That divides your chart into 4 sections, okay? So you see all these symbols? These are all the astrology symbols. You notice that they are color-coded. Each website will have a different color coding for their own software. But because we are borrowing somebody's software, then you just bear with it. Now, all these lines, they are called aspects. We will not go too deeply into that, but I just want to introduce to you the different parts of a chart. All these are known as the planets. Okay. Now, these planets, this one is, for example, Venus. Venus would rule some of the signs here, which would be Taurus and Libra. So each planet would rule at least one sign, although some planets will overlap and rule 2 or even 3 signs. Not to worry too much about all the technicalities if you cannot understand or remember as yet. Just try and follow what I'm saying. Now, if you look at this chart here, you see this line, all right? This is house 1. This is another one. These are all the demarcations that show you where one sign begins and one sign ends. So Virgo will begin from here, this angle here to here. And this one here would be Libra. You follow? Straightforward, huh? You see this arrow here? This part. This one. We call that the 9 o'clock position. Now, at the 9 o'clock position is what what is commonly known as your ascendant. I'm spelling it out for you. It is also casually known as the rising sign. Why? Because this sign here was a sign that was on the eastern horizon at the time of your birth. Now, in Party, we don't need to know which country you're born for Party and Ziwei. But for Western astrology, I'm afraid you quite need to know which country you're born, as well as what time exactly. All right? Now, you see this fellow here, this arrow, the 9 o'clock position, it cuts into this line. So what is this guy's rising sign? Let me just highlight for you. It's this one. And what sign is that? This is Pisces. So right now, I want you to just very quickly look at your own charts and identify your own rising sign. Whoever is not able to identify, please raise your hand, and then we'll find a way to get the answer to you. Identify your rising sign. There you go. Okay. Now, that is the most important part of a chart, because the moment I know your rising sign, I know your entire personality. And when I know your personality, I can therefore begin to make predictions about what happens in your life. Because our life's choices are made based on our personality. Very simple, very straightforward. And in astrology, we also feel that people don't change. So if people don't change, and if I know your rising sign, straight off, I know every aspect of your life. Where your money comes from, what makes you happy, what triggers a drama episode, where your spouse comes from, what kind of career is best for you, where's your natural placements. All these things we can actually tell simply based on knowing your rising sign. Now, how well you fare in a particular vocation would then depend on all these planets, where they are located in your chart. So let's say, for example, that you do not know what time exactly a person is born. Can you still erect the Western astrology chart? You can, but you just will not be able to tell what sign is sitting here. Okay? In party studies, you can erect 3 pillars. In Western astrology, without the time of birth, you can still see Pluto is in what sign, Sun is in what sign, the Moon is in what sign, the Saturn is in what sign, but you cannot tell which house it is sitting in. So if you do not have a person's time of birth, you can tell a lot about a personality still, but you just would have difficulty doing the fortune reading part. That is the difference between Western astrology and Pati. Okay? Now we go on to the next section. This part here, the 9 o'clock position, is known as the rising sign. I hope you guys can see the blue color. And then you have on the 3 o'clock position, this one is known as the descendant. This is the second important part of the chart, because why? Your descendant, the sign here. So in this instance, right, in this example that I'm showing you, this line here falls in between these 2 lines. So the sign here is Virgo. So in this sample chart, the descendant is in Virgo. Why is it important to identify that? Very simple. Once I know what sign is there on the descendant sign, I can tell you all about your spouse. Your wife, if you're a man looking for a wife. Your husband, if you're a woman looking for a husband. Okay? It can tell you things like what size your husband is, from which country, what he likes, what is he like physically, what is he like mentally, so that at least you can prepare and you know where to search. Simple and fun, right? No bluff. Astrology chart don't lie. Then you look at this part here. This one is the 6 o'clock position. This one is the 12 o'clock position. Also important. The 6 o'clock position tells you about your true self, your inner collide. Never mind if you cannot remember all the little names, okay? We usually refer to this one as IC, and this one we refer to as MC. This MC is all about your career, how people see you, how the world receives you, your recognition. So when we talk about a chart, essentially the 4 pillars of a chart is the AC, the rising sign is known as AC. Then you have the descendant, and then you have the IC and the MC. These 4 areas of a chart. When I read a chart, I always go straight to these 4 points first, because I want to know about this person. Simple, right? I think so far everyone is quite clear. I don't see any raised hands. I don't see any written comments. Or if there were, please, and I missed it, then you probably need to highlight to me. Now, we are going on to the next stage. I'm going to switch screens. I'm going to go to... I am just going to switch to a writing... Okay. What have I done? Oh, what have I done? I'm sorry, I'm quite lost. I don't know what I have done. I cannot bring back the screen. Can someone help me? Ah, okay, I brought back the screen. Okay. This is scary stuff. Right. There you go. What is this? Bear with me, yeah? Ah, there you go. Okay, this is basically a blank screen because I want to do some drawings here for you. If you look at the chart, it's divided into 12, yes? I have shown you what the planets look like. The planets basically look like this. All the symbols in the center of the chart that you saw just now. These are all the planets, okay? Now, when you look at your chart, I want you to count how many you have in each quadrant. This will tell you what you need to be focusing on in life. You count all these planets. There are 10 of them, including the sun and the moon. You just do not count the North Node. You do not count Chiron. And you do not count this one if it appears for you. So start counting now. Literally one planet, 1 point. Now, so let's say that in this section here, in quadrant 1, let's say that in quadrant 1 itself, you have, say, 3 planets. Then it's very simple, just put here 3. If in quadrant 2, you have 2 planets, then you just put here 2. So you just do an immediate count. There should be a total of, I think, 10, 11, somewhere there. So let's say you have 4 here and you have 1 here, okay? Now, you look at these 4 quadrants, the one with the highest number. So in this example, the highest number will be quadrant 3, correct? So the quadrant with the highest number is what you should be focusing on. Your entire life, not just this year, not just next year, not just before you're married, not just after when you have kids, but your entire life. From the day you are born until the day you leave this world, you focus on quadrant 3. Okay, so right now I'm going to tell you what each quadrant represents. So at least you know what you're supposed to be doing right now. If you have a majority of your planets in quadrant 1, get physical. Get physical doesn't mean you go and whack someone or you're going to be aggressive in nature. No, it actually means get physical, go exercise. You need to exercise. Your life depends on it. Because why? When you exercise, you are helping your body to connect body, mind, and soul. When that is connected, then you will be able to move forward in life and make progress faster and smoother than you ever imagined. Okay? Next quadrant, quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is about emotions. Now, people who have a lot of planets in this quadrant, they tend to be very distant, or they cannot identify their feelings. People can see that they are angry or that they're very emotional, very emotive, but the native himself or herself, the person who owns the chart is called a native, would never be able to see that they are being very emotional. So people with a lot of planets in here, or with a majority of their planets in here, must learn to get familiar with their emotions. And once they do that, then they will find that their relationships improve and life is better. It is that simple. Life is very simple. Don't need to make things very complicated one. So in a session with me, right, you actually get pointers on where you can improve your life. So today you are actually going to be getting a lot of pointers. Okay, Q3, which is this one. If you have a lot of planets in Q3, you are here to learn to be more logical. Does that make sense to you? I'm just wondering why my pen is so. You are here to learn to be more logical. Okay, that means to say, this person, this chart owner, is someone who is very reactive, and reactions are out of habit. So this person with all the planets in quadrant 3 or a majority of the planets in quadrant 3 needs to learn to step back and be more logical, be more practical. Now, a person with planets in with a lot of planets in quadrant 3 tend to be very judgmental. They tend to feel that, you know, oh, the person doesn't like me, that's why this person is being such an idiot to me, making things so difficult for me, you know, not being helpful to me. That is all the chart owner's self-talk. It has nothing to do with the other person at all. Okay, so this person must then learn to detach and not be so sensitive, must learn to use the head. Okay, quadrant 4 is about spirituality. So what do we mean by spirituality? Why is my phone like that? Huh? Did I type something? Did I touch something? Okay, never mind. As long as you guys can understand, okay? Now, when we talk about spirituality, we are talking not about, you know, you literally taking a little singing bowl and sitting there and going talk, 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 or shaving your head and going to the mountaintop, nothing like that. When we talk about spirituality, we're talking about oneness. When we talk about oneness, we're talking about you and I, same blood. We cut our skin, we all have red blood. Yeah, doesn't matter whether you are white color, you are black color, yellow color, brown color, we all bleed red blood. It is about oneness, spirituality. Okay? It is about accepting that we are all born equal. It is about accepting that we all have the same right to want to have a better life, to want to be loved, to have the right to just have whatever we want and want whatever we want without having got to explain anything to anyone, without having got to justify our existence. That is spirituality. One thing you need to bear in mind is that in astrology, we don't talk religion at all. Okay, not just because it's a sensitive subject, but it really has nothing to do with religion. This is about you as a person. Okay, so here we have covered the 4 quadrants. If you have any questions, I think now is the time to raise your hands and ask them before we proceed further, because we have covered one section of the learning. Anybody?
Hello, Esther.
Yes.
JP here. Okay, can I
Sorry? Yes.
can I know more about quadrant 4?
Quadrant 4.
Yeah, what should we focus on if let's say we have more stars?
I think in Chinese they say 看开啊, letting go. Yeah. Maybe you can unmute yourself and have a little bit of interaction with me here verbally, vocally, so at least I know if you understand what I'm saying or not. Now, when we talk about spirituality, we're talking about you can care for someone, but you cannot do everything for someone. We talk about spirituality means acceptance or allowing. For example, as a parent, right, we tend to tell our child, you must do ABC. It's fine when the child is a child, but when the child is older and is a young adult, we need to be able to distance ourselves and allow the child to make their own decisions. So the act of allowing is also spirituality.
Okay, got it now.
Yeah, allowing, accepting. Yeah.
Okay.
In spirituality, there is no place for ego, no place at all for ego. So ego is when I say I am right. Cannot lah. We are all right. We are never wrong. Okay. So in spirituality, we don't do ego talk. It's never about I. It's always about we. It's always about us, the team. What can we do for you, or what can you do for us? It's always about us. There's no I in spirituality. Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot more that can be said about it, lah. Sorry, you were saying, but what?
No, I'm saying I got it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Sir, Esther Hailing here.
Hi, Hailing.
Yeah, I want to ask if we have equal numbers of planets in the quadrant.
All 4 quadrants?
No, only 2.
Which 2?
Quadrant 1 and quadrant 2.
Okay, so if you find that all your planets are spread over quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 equally, then you focus on both quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Some people will have yeah, their planets will be spread over 2 quadrants on. Not abnormal.
If there's nothing in one quadrant, is it abnormal?
No, it's quite normal because there are only so
Oh,
many
okay.
planets. Yeah. So not every quadrant will have full house. Not every quadrant will even have one planet inside.
Okay, all right.
Okay, it's very normal because there are not enough planets to go around. Any other question? No? Okay, so we go to the next one, okay? Okay, now when you look at your chart, it's like a pizza, okay? We divide it into 12 pieces. Okay, roughly drawn, that's about it. Now we talk about personality house, is house 1. House 1 is very, very important because as I've said just now, house 1 is about personality, which basically tells me or shows me the choices that you will make in life. So if I tell you that, hey, your chart says that, you know, your career is no problem, you will go very far. Why? Probably because your rising sign down here, your AC, is a sign that's very hardworking or a sign that is very lucky, which can also be seen in your MC. So there will always be echoing data or supporting data for me to make that statement. Okay. Next, we look at house 2. We don't go by house, we go by money, by subject. Can? Money, everybody's favorite subject. How do you see money? House 2. This is house 2. House 2 is basically this one here. If you look at your chart, somewhere on the inside here, you'll probably see smaller numbers, which will tell you what the house number is. House 2 is about money that you make. That means you work for it. It is not money that lands in your lap, not Toto, not 40, not money you inherit, but actually money that you have to go to work to earn. So you put in X number of hours and you get X dollars in return. House 2 is also anything that triggers a spending, because house 2 is emotions. You know those comfort shoppers, you know, not happy, they go shopping and then they max out the credit card. Yeah, they probably have some of the more important planets in house 2. Okay, house 2 is also what you stand for in life. Okay, so like for some people, they make a stand for education for everybody, and some people make a stand against violence. That is what I mean by what you stand for in life. Then we talk about house 5. This one. House 5 is also money. What sort of money? Investment. Okay. Stocks. Shares. Toto. 4D. It falls under house 5. Interesting, huh? So hopefully you don't have a negative planet inside there. If you have a negative planet inside there, for example, Saturn, then you don't waste time playing Toto and 4D. This is Saturn. If you have this inside your house 5, then don't waste money, don't waste time. You won't, not very likely to strike. Even if you use Tima to try and get lucky, right? Your chances is not very high one. Okay. Then we have one last house for money, which is here, house 8. Okay. House 8 is about inheritance. I'm just going to go to a new page. House 8 is about inheritance. Inheritance, a lot of people misunderstand this this word in astrology. Inheritance doesn't mean someone has to die before you inherit something. That is a traditional definition. But inheritance actually means, let's say for example, I'm in business. My business is not doing well, but I have a lot of stock in hand. Let's assume I'm in skincare business, for example. I have a lot of stock in hand, and what I want is to close shop. So you have good planets in house 8, all right? Maybe you have the sun inside there, or you have Leo inside there. Then maybe I would say, hey, I'm going to close shop. I have all this stock. I'm not bothered to sell. Do you just want to take it? So that is also inheritance. Okay. Now, inheritance can also come from marriage. That means you marry rich or not. Some people, when they marry rich, they come from maybe a lower income or middle income, and then they marry someone of a higher financial status. So they become rich, right now. But some people with certain planets in house 8, they cannot get divorced. They get divorced, they lose everything. Okay? So the money that comes from marriage as well. Of course, when marriage, if one partner dies, then the inheritance is also inclusive of that. So widowhood or widower. Okay? This one also, it falls under house 8. And then we talk about house 10. This is career. Career obviously got money one. If your work is, if you're doing a lot of work but you're not getting paid for it, you're doing a charity. You're not doing a business. You're not having a career. So these are the few houses 2, 5, 8, and 10 that we go to look at money issues. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, I take it there's no questions. We go to the next level. We talk about health. Health is wealth. A lot of people fail to understand this, but I cannot emphasize this strong enough. Okay, my late husband, he basically contracted kidney failure at the age of 7 years old. 7 years old. I'm not joking. Because there was no care and concern given to his diet. So as a child, he was having what he calls bok tui, soda. He was having like 10, 12 bottles a day, and he was consuming porridge with canned food all the time because his caregiver was always busy with mahjong. Okay, so if you can get kidney failure at the age of 7, you're going to be spending a lot of your money in your adulthood trying to fix the medical problem. When you have kidney failure, if caught in the early stages, you can reverse the thing, okay, with a little bit of money. But at that age, what does he know, correct? So as an adult, we spend a lot of money trying to fix his health. Health is really wealth because you may have advanced technology, you may have advanced medical care, you can never turn the clock backwards. Okay, you can only slow down the degeneration process, and it's a very expensive process. So we need to look at health because that is a way for us to keep our wealth as well as to have quality of life. Without quality of life, you have nothing because you're too sick or you're paralyzed, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you have a lot of dietary restrictions, a lot of lifestyle restrictions. Okay, so we're going to look at health today. And when you look at health, you want to see whether a person I would say that most people got health issues. Okay, very few people are just so-called normal with no issues. So which are the health houses in a Western astrology chart? House 1. House 1 is about your physical limitations. So if a person is born with, say, one leg shorter than the other, or a physical deformity, it is usually seen in house 1. If not in house 1, then in house 2. Okay, and then we talked about house 4. House 4 is hereditary illnesses. That means it runs in your family one. So let's say your great-grandfather got diabetes, and probably your grandfather also has diabetes, then probably your father also has diabetes, and then in all probability, you will also have diabetes. If that is so, it will appear in house 4 of your chart. It will also appear in house 6 of your chart. Okay? House 4 and house 6 is hereditary illness. Cannot run one. It's a matter of when it comes up only. And then you have house 5. House 5 is reproductive. I didn't quite get to see how many men and women we have in this group, but I'm going to assume that everyone here is an adult. If there are any young adults, you are 18 and above. Jaina, I hope I'm not wrong with that assumption.
Yeah.
Okay, no objection, so I assume that I'm right. Okay, reproductive organs basically means when it comes to a woman, it talks about her cervical cancer, we talk about womb issues, we talk about breast issues, but mostly it's in the lower half of the body. Because our breasts are used to produce milk to feed baby, it's not really a reproductive organ. Okay, and reproductive organ can refer to cervical cancer, it can refer to womb cancer. Sorry, the writing's a bit off. It can also refer to vaginal issues. Okay, so when we talk about men, for men, we are talking about scrotum cancer. There is such a thing, testicular cancer, they call it. And then there's also this thing called prostate issues. This will be seen in house 5. Okay? And then we talk about the next house, next page here. The next health house, continue, is house 8. House 8 is caused by the mind. We call it psychosomatic illnesses. Psychosomatic. So what that means is that if I think I have this illness, I have this illness. All right? Your body listens to your brain. It listens to your thought. So if you keep saying that, oh, I think I have high blood pressure, I can guarantee you in a very short time, you will develop high blood pressure issues. And then the last one is house 12. House 12 is things beyond your control. So basically, in terms of health, is your weakest link. Okay, so in summary, it is houses 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12. That's a lot. You only have 12 astrology houses inside your chart, and 7 of it is health related. So what are the chances of someone actually having a health issue? Very high. It's more than 50%. Okay. In addition to that, the planet Sun, which looks like a donut in your chart, the Moon. Okay, technically the Sun and the Moon is not called planet, but for ease of conversation here, we'll just refer to it as a planet. They are actually known as luminaries because they reflect light. Okay, so the Sun and the Moon will also show you additional health issues. In addition to that, you see your chart has this thing. It's called a North Node. Your North Node also shows you health issues. The sign that the North Node is in is what you need to look at. Okay, so health issues, almost everybody I know has them. It's a matter of how bad, when, and then can it be changed? Can. You need to identify first. So let's say, for example, I go back one page. House 6, we talk about house 6 being a hereditary issue, right? House 6 is also a dietary issue. Okay, so let's say you have a lot of planet in house 6. Let's say, for example, you have Neptune inside there, this planet. You have Neptune inside there in house 6. What it means is that your body, your stomach is very, very sensitive. And you need to add in things like probiotics. You need to make sure that you are eating 6 small meals, which is what the body is designed for, instead of 3 large meals in a day. Okay. Then you need to talk about things like not consuming dairy products, because people with Neptune in house 6, very sensitive stomach. So if, let's say today, you have identified that you have this planet in your house 6 of your chart, and that can create a lot of health problems, because once your what do you call that, your gut health is not there, your immune system is compromised. Okay, your immune system is not strong, because what goes into your system is all through your stomach. Your body is able to absorb nutrition from the stomach. So if your stomach is not able to absorb the nutrition properly, then you're quite screwed. So you need to work backwards and fix that. Otherwise, some people say, oh, I'm 30 years old, no problem. Yeah, now because your body is still young enough to cope with it. But when you hit a certain age, your body cannot cope anymore, and then you put yourself at a higher risk. Okay? So that's health issues. Yep. Any questions? Okay, no questions. We go on to the next one. Career. For career, we usually look at house 1, because your personality, right? Your personality will influence your choices. Okay? Then we look at house 2, because this is money you earn, you work for. Okay? Why is this important? Some people have dual income. That means they have a job or a business, and then they have a sideline income as well. That is seen in house 2. And then you also look at house 3, because house 3 is about sales. So if a person has a lot of good planets in house 3, but you're not doing sales, then it's a bit of a waste. Okay? And when we look at career, it's usually tagged to money. Everybody is about how much money can I make, when can I make it, how can I make it, where do I get it. So therefore, we look at these houses. Then the next house we look at is house 6, because house 6 is the 24 hours in your day. Okay? The 24 hours starts from the time when you wake up from bed, you get washed up, you go to the shop, you pick up your glass of soya bean, you buy your sandwich, you get on the bus or you get in your car and you go to work. And then you go to work, you see the receptionist, you see your boss, you see all your colleagues, and then lunchtime you go to work. It includes the lady you buy lunch from. It includes the uncle you say good night to when you get off the bus, okay, until you go home and until you sleep. That is your 24 hours. So in a chart, when we look at career, if you have good planets in house 6, then yeah, career also can go very far. Okay. The next thing we look at for career is houses 9, 10, 11. Okay. These are the career houses. So we always hope that all the good stuff is in all the right places. But quite hard lah, to be honest. It's very hard to get. You see down here, you already have 7 houses for health, 7 houses for career. So what are the chances of being so fortunate as to have all the good planets in all the right places? Rare, very rare. But doesn't mean that you can't get it. You understand? You can have whatever you want in life, because let me show you one thing. Sorry, let me show you one thing, okay? When you look at your chart, your planet sun is written like this. It's like a donut, right? Now, what does it mean? Got meaning one. All the symbols got meaning one. This is you. This green circle is you. Okay? The red circle is the world. So this is you surrounded by the world. Everything that you want from the world is yours for the taking. You just need to put your hand up, take it and put it into your pocket. But a lot of people don't know how to do that. Okay? We are all born with this gift. It's our birthright. You can have anything you want. How much money you want, you can get it. You want to be loved, you can get it. You want someone to love, also can get it. You can have everything that you want in your life. Nothing is impossible. The question is, do you want it? Are you willing to work for it? Okay? I say work for it because although it is our birthright, we still have to show proof that we want it lah. We also need to have the capacity, right now. You're going to apply for a job. They also ask you for your certification, your qualifications. They ask you for your experience. Are you qualified to hold this job? Similarly, if you say that, you want to make $1 million in 1 year, can. What is your experience? If your highest that you've ever made is, say, 100,000, to hit a target of 1 million in 1 year, not realistic. You can go up by increments of maybe 20 to 30% per year. That is realistic and it's very achievable. So you need to do it by steps. So 100, next goal will be 130. Or if you want to be stretchy, you can go 150, 200. Every year you keep stretching and then eventually you'll get to the $1 million goal. Very doable when you break it down in chunks like that. And that is life. Anything that you want is possible. Okay? Now, we have talked about your personality. We have talked about your health. We have talked about your career and money. There's one last one, love. Anybody interested? Or are we all just money-minded people?
Yes.
Nobody? Yes.
Yes. I answer for other people.
Okay, because I can't see the chat screen, okay? I haven't figured out how to work that yet. I stopped share because I want to show you something. Right. Esther is still a bit slow with all the toggling, but bear with me, I'll get there. Okay. Downloads. Okay, I want to show you guys some charts first. Just as an example so that we don't get so lost when we... Okay. Oh, I didn't share to Chrome, I say. Sorry, yeah. There you go. There you go. So clever. And then I have to full screen, share screen. There you go. Okay. So you guys see this chart? This is a chart. It's the same. It's a Western astrology chart. It's just taken from another website. There are many websites that you can go to erect your chart, but this is basically what they will all look like, more or less the same one. Okay. Okay. So for love, right? You look at this house, house 1. Oops, you can see that. House 1. You look at house 5. You look at house 7. And then you look at house 8. And then you look at the sun sign. You look at the moon sign. You look at the north node sign. These are the things you look at when you talk about love. Now, I want to discuss a little bit on the subject of love, okay? This one can get a bit dry, but I think it's important to first establish some things. A woman's definition of love and a man's definition of love is very, very different, okay? For men, it is about comfort. Mostly, it is about comforts of the home, creature comforts. For women, it is about emotional connection. Agree? I don't hear any disagreements. I don't see any disagreements, so I'm just going to assume that you agree, okay? So this is male and this is female. Now, the difference between these two is that when we look at a Western astro chart like this one, right, we focus on different planets. So first of all, we are going to talk about a man's chart. What does he look for? Sorry. What does he look for when he looks for a wife? Number 1, we look at his rising sign. Okay. Number 2, we look at his sun sign. So a male with a sun in Scorpio, what does he look for? He wants a wife to be a total submissive to him. So if you are a female who is very strong-minded, you have a strong character, you have a mind of your own, and then you're hitched up with a guy who wants a woman to submit to him, then I think you're in trouble. Okay, so then it doesn't mean it cannot work, because if you're married to one such person and you fit the description I just gave, it doesn't mean it can't work. It just means that you have to really learn the art of compromise. You have to really learn the art of living together. Okay, there are solutions for that. Then you look at the moon. Moon in Pisces. For both male and female, we will look at these 3 points automatic. Okay, the moon in Pisces basically means that this person can close one eye. Chinese say 看开啊, 看开啊. So this person can, anything also okay lah, 青菜啦. All right. Now, if this is a man, the next thing we need to look at is his Venus. This one. Okay, his Venus is in this sign because why? It's between these 2 lines here. So his Venus is in Scorpio. How does he love the woman? Very, very possessive. So if his woman is someone who goes out and starts to even say hi to another man, this guy may not like it. If she wears her skirt short, now your definition of short and my definition of short is going to be different. My definition of short can be knee length. His definition of short can be anything above the ankle. Okay, you see the huge difference in definition there, right? So that is the thing, you see. So it's about teeing up expectations. So a man with Venus in Scorpio is very, very possessive. What is mine is mine. No other man can see, no other man can touch, no other man should even glance your way a second time. Okay. Now, we talk about women then. This is where the difference is. If this is a female chart, the Mars in Libra will tell you, the planet Mars, the sign that is in, will tell you the type of man that she likes. So for a woman with this placement, Libra is all about charm. Okay, so if you have someone who is very cholo, very rugged, very crude, she may not be attracted to it. To him, I mean. Okay, so when we talk about looking at a love issue, we also talk about house 5. Now this chart is quite unfortunate. It has Saturn in house 5. Saturn is not known as a good planet to have, but again, it depends on where you're coming from. Okay, different astrologers got different way of emphasizing planets. So for me, when I see Saturn, usually I coming from a client's perspective, I shake head because where Saturn is where you have a lot of trouble. a lot of shit lah, if you want me to put it bluntly. Okay, this planet is the planet of shit. So depending on which house it is in, your shit is going to be coming up from there. And this is not about temporary. This is not a 1 year. This is a lifetime. Okay, we're not talking about before you get married or after you get married, but this is a lifetime. Because whose chart is this? Your chart. Not your husband's chart, not your children's chart, not your wife's chart. It's your chart. So if this is your chart and you have a shitty experience where housewife issues are concerned, and housewife includes love and sex, huh? So you have a lot of shitty experiences about love. Whose fault? This chart owner's fault lah. I don't like to use the word fault lah, but for the sake of learning now, okay? So it is this chart owner's fault. So then what must this chart owner do? Learn to draw boundaries. Just because you love your husband or just because you love your wife does not mean that you can get away with treating the other person very rudely or taking the other person for granted. It does not work that way. Okay? So, house 7. House 7 is about marriage. House 8 is also about marriage. House 9 is also about marriage. But house 9 is mostly in-laws. Okay? House 7 is about marriage. So let's take a look at this person's marriage. What kind of partner this person has? Let's assume this is a male chart, a chart belonging to a man. You see this dark line here? That is the DC. The DC cuts into Cancer. Okay? So his spouse, his wife, is someone who is very Cancerian. That doesn't say a lot, right? Okay, what is Cancerian? Fair skin. Because why? Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon doesn't like the sun, ma. So this native is most likely someone who does not really fancy spending time in the sun. So you can say that the spouse is fair skin. Cancerian is very homebound. So you can say that the spouse is very homey one. Homey means bo sui also lah. Because I'm sorry I'm Malaysian, but just because you're at home, you don't put makeup on all the time, right? I mean, your minister made this joke about Doraemon. That was really funny. But when you are a real woman at home doing housework and all that, you don't put on a makeup to sweep the floor and cook a meal. You just don't. Okay, but therefore, if this is a man's chart and he has Cancer on the descendant, his wife is someone who is some people would say mousy looking. Yeah, not very attractive lah. Okay, so this is how you see lah. And then of course you also need to see whether there are any planets inside here. If there are planets inside here, then it tells you, it gives you more insights into what kind of person your partner is. Now, this person, the sun is in house 11. 11 is the world, okay? So your sun is your ego. Your sun is your identity. It's where you get your recognition. It is where you must go to get what you want from life. So this man with the sun in house 11, his wife can be from anywhere in the world. So why fair skin though? I mean, why not? Maybe he marries an Indian girl, or he marries an Italian girl, dark skin, you know, or marry a French, because French are also quite dark tone. Why no? Very simple. You see the DC? The DC here is in Cancer, fair. So if this man goes to places like, let's say, Spain, and then he falls in love with a Spanish woman, and they are mostly quite dark skin or very exotic skin color one. Is she the one? Not likely, because his spouse is supposed to be fair skin. Okay. Now, when we say that he fell in love with the Spanish girl, obviously he wants to get married, right? Because you don't run your life by what your chart says. Your chart is just a guide. It should not and it should never be allowed to dictate what you do in life. So fair skin, but then the one you're in love with is not fair skin. How? And then you have this one here which says shit in romance. Never mind lah. If he loves her, then he can still propose, he can still get married. What? It's just you need to make adjustments to each other, expectations. Okay? So in the course of doing a reading, sometimes we see couples that, alamak, your chart is not very matching one, personality very different. How? Divorce. Cannot be, right? Of course, if you want to divorce, I won't stop you, you know. But the point is that you cannot be telling everyone that, oh, your chart don't match, you must divorce. No lah. It's a matter of how you want to blend into each other. That's what marriage is about, making compromises, being together, right now. Then you also have to look at his moon sign. He's attached to who? This one, if it's a male chart, right? House 3 is your siblings. I know you're getting drips and drabs of information here and there, but it cannot be helped because our time is quite limited. Okay. So house 3 is siblings with the moon there. Where the moon is where you have attachment. So this man is very attached to the siblings one. So you as his wife, and then he has got this one here, you know, so the wife nag all the time. Okay. And then when he wants to take care of the siblings, be it in terms of physical, you know, the siblings stay in your house maybe after you're married, or he actually sponsors the siblings for studies and stuff like that, you as the wife will feel very pig-tailed. Because why? When a man marries, he's supposed to put the wife as number 1. But this man is slightly different. He has moon in house 3, which means that he's still attached to his siblings. So he will still help the siblings. So you as the wife, you don't go in chucho and say, Alama, you shouldn't help the siblings so much, this and that. It will only make him not like you. So you just quietly support Ken already. Okay? So I think I have pretty much come to the end of the sharing on the technical aspect of a party. So I want to do one more thing though, if we have time. I hope you all can stay for a few more minutes. I want to show you how to remember certain things. Okay, you are aware that in astrology we got 12 signs, right? Let me just get a ruler. Okay, in astrology we have 12 signs, and I want to teach you how to remember their story. I want to teach you how to remember their characteristic. It's very fun one. Sorry, I overdrew. Okay, I'm going to show you how to write Aries. You know, when you learn to do writing in an exercise book, there's a line, right? So that is the line in the exercise book. When you write Aries, you have to understand that this is simple. It begins from nowhere, stands on nothing, and ends at nowhere. You notice? This point here begins in the middle of nowhere. It ends in the middle of nowhere. And it's not grounded. You see this part, it doesn't touch the line at all. So Aries 做东西没头没尾, no head, no tail. It never touches this line. Okay? So this is Aries, always long pia. This is like the ram head, the horn. Okay? So the next time you look at an Aries, right, and then you'll be thinking, this fellow is so good looking. Aries males are very good looking. Huh? He's so good looking, he's so macho, he walks with his shoulders back, but he does things no head, no tail. Or maybe he starts but never finish. Okay. Why start, never finish? Starts in the middle of nowhere, ends in the middle of nowhere. That is why the symbol is written like this and not like this. Okay? So that is Aries. Taurus. Taurus is a female sign. Huh? This is a human face. This is the ribbon. It's a female in polarity. The yin yang. Aries is male, Taurus is female. So how do you remember this person? What kind of person is this person? This Taurus woman. I'm so pretty, look at me. She wear a ribbon around her head all the time. So the next time you look at a Taurus female, just remember this. They are very conscious of their looks. Okay. Taurus females got 2 types. One is the very pretty, really, really pretty little things. Okay, that's why they're always having this complex. And then you have the chunkier version as well. The chunkier ones, right, most unfortunately, no matter what they do, they cannot lose the weight one. That's why the face is very round. Okay, so that's Taurus. And then we go on to Gemini. Gemini is the sign of twinship, right? Duality, right? And therefore skinny, 2 of them in one body, joined by the 2 bars. So this is Gemini. So Gemini, everywhere you go, there is duality. You notice I'm teaching you how to write the symbol as well as giving you a little story behind. It is to help you identify the personality, okay? Gemini is the 3rd sign in the zodiac. It is male, okay? So a male Gemini is very dual in his mind, in his thinking. So when you talk to a Gemini, right, male, you are talking about split personality. today he's very nice to you, tomorrow he's like, my God, he's such a jerk. But bo pian one, Gemini male is like that. Because today it can be Tom in this body you're talking to, tomorrow it can be Harry that you're talking to. They seem the same person. I think in English we have a storybook that goes Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That describes Gemini men very well. I don't know why my pen is like that, but yeah, there you go. Okay, now it's a male sign, right? So what happens if you have a female born under this sign? Why is my pen like that? Huh? Okay. There you go. You cancel that out first. Okay. So a female born in this male sign, they reenact the qualities. That means pretend. So when you pretend something, it is usually very exaggerated, right? So a female born in this sign reenacts this thing, this split personality, this duality thingy. They reenact it. So therefore, instead of a split personality, when it comes to Gemini, you're talking about multiple personalities. You ever watch the movie 50 First Dates? Yeah, that's what it's like with a female, Gemini female. Okay? So it's not that they have medical issues, no. But in fact, most Gemini females have this thing called bipolar issues. It's because of the 51st date mentality. Okay? Next. We talk about Cancer. Cancer, if you notice, is like written like number 69, but it's on the side. Correct not? This is vertical. This is horizontal. So what does a Cancerian do all the time? Cancerian is the fourth sign in the zodiac. Huh? It is therefore a female entity, female polarity. Now, fourth sign, female polarity. To be honest, you will hear a Cancerian female before you see her because she'll be giggling very coyly. She'll be talking about sex. Yes. It's just the way she is. Okay? So you will hear her talking about sex all the time. Then what about the males? The males are easier to recognize because their face will be very round, like prata. Yeah. And very fair some more. And then their teeth are jagged teeth. It's like Dracula teeth, and they laugh like a hyena. That is the male. So you go and observe. I mean, as I'm telling you stories about the different zodiac signs, right? You call to mind a person who fits this zodiac sign, and then you see whether it's correct or not. Okay, so this is Cancerian. Next, we have Leo. Now, Leo, the lion, is the fifth sign in the zodiac, so it's a male in polarity again. Now, this guy, the lion, right now, is the king of the jungle, right now. Very arrogant, okay? Even his symbol is written in a very arrogant manner. When you talk to the king, you don't get to talk to his face. You get to talk to his butt, and then this is his tail. And that is exactly how the symbol of Leo is written. Talk to my butt. Okay? So they're quite arrogant people. The female, however, is, because it's a female born in a male sign, right? Why do I say male sign? Because it's male polarity. It's a female born in a male sign. Oh, I noticed if I right below it's like that. Okay, a female born in a male sign is reenacted personality trait, right? So a female can appear very brash, very bitchy lah. She's the corporate bitch lah, okay? But she is not as confident as she appears because why? It's a reenactment. Okay, it's a make pretend of arrogance. So she has this complex that says, you cannot bully me, so I bully you first. Next, Virgo. You see Virgo, it's written N like that, right? But you see this third line, right? I'm going to write it in blue so that it's easier for you to identify. This one, the blue line. Now, the blue line basically is, a lot of people take that to mean purity. But Virgo is not pure. They have never been about purity, okay? Virgo is a sixth sign. It is also male in polarity. Sorry, female. Female in, sorry, let me just do that. Okay, there you go. It's a female polarity. So the female born in Virgo, in the sign of Virgo, she actually wants to give it away, if you know what I mean. Okay? But unfortunately, because the way she dresses, right, they're usually quite Victorian. Huh? The baju all will come up to the neck, long sleeve. They dress very demure fashion. So they look so innocent and so pure, right? Almost like a nun, right? So the men around her don't feel so good about wanting to hold her hand, wanting to kiss her, because those are not things you want to do with a nun. You know what I mean? But that's exactly how they see her, as a nun or as a sister figure. So that's Virgo female for you. Now Virgo male, because this is a female sign, a Virgo male is very critical of whom? Himself first. You see the blue line? It goes inwards, ma. So every time something goes wrong, he blames himself first. Okay? And this guy is usually a giant. They're giant because they are very big size, but they are very gentle. Okay? I call them my gentle giants. My son is a Virgo boy. When he was born, he was really, really, really tiny. So tiny that a lot of people asked if he was premature, but he was actually carried to full term. Okay? And as they grow, when they hit a certain age, right? Not even puberty, but when they hit a certain age, when they feel like they have no choice but to look after the family, suddenly they will boom into a very big size person. Okay, now these gentle giants, as they grow older, their body, especially upper body, can become very big size, so that it can look like they're walking on chicken legs. You ever see a chicken? Tiny legs, right? And then the body is so big one, right? Yeah. So this is exactly like Virgo male, chicken leg. Okay. So if you have a Virgo male child, or if you are a Virgo male, you need to go to the gym and build your leg muscle. Because when your upper body is so big, your blood return flow is not strong. So you need to build the leg muscles to encourage blood to flow back, flow upwards towards the heart. Next, we have Libra. Note how I'm writing Libra. This is the spine, shoulders, tummy, legs. And that is exactly how all Librans look like. You can recognize them by the layer of blubber around the tummy. Not joking. Okay? And Virgo is Lang Zai or Lang Loya. Very good looking one. Libra is another good looking one. In English, right, we actually have a phrase that goes, dimple on chin, devil within. That means I don't mean he's evil, okay? I just mean that this is a very, very tricky person. Dimple on chin, devil within. This person gets up to a lot of shenanigans, and it's really fun to be with this person. Now, this is the seventh sign, so it is male in polarity. I really don't understand why this thing is like that. Never mind. This is a male entity, male polarity sign. So this man is all for equality, freedom, equal rights for women. Okay? The females born under this sign is all about, if a man can do it, I can do it better. Yes, they are all for equality. Okay, and the females the female Libra is the most beautiful of all women. Okay, because their ruling planet is Venus, they are really gorgeous. They have you know what we call the Coca-Cola figure? Yes, Coca-Cola body. Nice chest, small waist, big hips. Okay, so that's Libra. And then you have Scorpio. Now this one can get a little colorful, but it's the best way for you to understand the Scorpio personality. Just now Virgo was written like that, right? Okay. Virgo was written like that with the finger pointing inward, right now. Now I'm going to show you Scorpio. It's also M, but this shoots out. Okay, what is that? What is this? This is equal to the middle finger. Every time something goes wrong, just notice a Scorpio, middle finger come out first. Okay, so the Virgo and the Scorpio and the Libra, they were once one sign. In the past, there was only 10 zodiac signs. Okay, then the ancients divided it because they felt that there is a distinction between Libra, Virgo, and Scorpio. So then we have 12 signs. So the difference between Virgo, inward blaming, Scorpio, outward blaming. Every time something goes wrong, Virgo blames itself, Scorpio blames everybody else first. Okay? Yeah. So a Scorpio is a female sign. So the females in this sign, female Scorpio, is a very powerful person. They usually know a lot of things because their natural placement is in house 8 of a chart. So their senses are always on. When I say sensor, I mean this. It's like antenna like that. The moment they see you, they know what exactly you want. Of course, that's exaggerated, but it's to make it easier for you to understand and remember things, okay? So the female Scorpio is someone who, one look, they know what you want, they know where you're coming from, okay? You don't need to explain anything because whatever the Scorpio thinks you're trying to do, that is reality, okay? Now, the Scorpio male, because it's a male in a female sign, right? This one is a bit tricky, but I'm just going to be very upfront and direct with you. The male Scorpio can be somewhat violent. The male Virgo, remember I just called him gentle giant. I just called the male Virgo a gentle giant, but he can also be very violent. Make the distinction between violent and cruel. Okay? Because these two, the males, are very different. Both can be equally violent, both can be equally cruel. But the more cruel one is the Virgo male. Cruel is when I pluck out a house